Genesis 40 Dreams Behind Bars. Once upon a time in an Egyptian prison, Joseph was stuck behind bars for something he didn't even do. But he wasn't just any prisoner. He was so trustworthy that the warden put him in charge of the whole place. One day, two new prisoners were thrown in the Pharaoh's cupbearer and his chief baker. These weren't ordinary guys. They used to work right next to the king himself. But something must have gone really wrong, because now they were sharing a jail cell with Joseph. Joseph noticed they looked troubled one morning. "What's wrong?" he asked. "We both had strange dreams," they said, "but we don't know what they mean." Joseph smiled and said, "Interpretations belong to God. Tell me your dreams." The cupbearer's dream. "In my dream there was a vine with 3 branches. Suddenly it budded, blossomed, and produced grapes. I squeezed the grapes into Pharaoh's cup and gave it to him." Joseph nodded and said, "Good news, the 3 branches mean 3 days. In 3 days, Pharaoh will lift you up and restore you to your old job. You'll be putting that cup in his hand again." The cupbearer's eyes lit up. Then Joseph added, "When that happens, please remember me. I was wrongly imprisoned." The baker's dream. 3 baskets of bread were on my head. The top basket had pastries for Pharaoh, but birds kept eating them. Joseph paused, then said, "The 3 baskets also mean 3 days. But Pharaoh will lift off your head. You'll be executed, and the birds will eat your flesh." Gulp. That was not what the baker hoped to hear. 3 days later, just as Joseph said, Pharaoh had a big party. The cupbearer was restored to his position. The baker, well, his dream came true too, sadly. But the cupbearer, he completely forgot about Joseph. And so Joseph stayed in prison, waiting, wondering, will anyone remember me? Genesis 41, from prisoner to prime minister. 2 full years passed. Joseph was still stuck in prison, forgotten by the cupbearer. But far away in the palace, Pharaoh had a night he'd never forget. Pharaoh's strange dreams. That night, Pharaoh had 2 weird dreams. Ram 7 fat cows came out of the Nile River and started grazing. Then suddenly 7 skinny, ugly cows showed up and ate the fat cows. Dream 2. 7 healthy heads of grain grew on a stalk. Then 7 thin, scorched heads appeared and swallowed the good ones. Pharaoh woke up shaking. He called every magician and wise man in Egypt, but no one could tell him what the dreams meant. That's when the cupbearer suddenly slapped his forehead. "Oh no, I forgot someone." Joseph's big moment. The cupbearer told Pharaoh about Joseph, the Hebrew prisoner who could interpret dreams. Pharaoh wasted no time. Joseph was rushed from prison, shaved, cleaned up, and brought before the king. "Pharaoh, I hear you can interpret dreams." "Joseph, I can't, but God can give Pharaoh the answer he needs." Pharaoh told Joseph the dreams. Joseph listened carefully, then explained Joseph's interpretation. The 2 dreams are one message. The 7 fat cows and healthy grain means 7 years of great abundance. But the 7 skinny cows and scorched grain, they mean 7 years of famine. God is warning Pharaoh. The famine will be so severe, people will forget the good years. So Pharaoh must find a wise man to store food during the good years to survive the bad ones. From chains to crown, Pharaoh looked at his officials and said, "Can we find anyone like this man who has the Spirit of God?" He turned to Joseph and said, "Since God has made this known to you, there is no one as wise and discerning as you. You shall be in charge of my palace. Only I will be greater than you." Just like that Joseph went from prisoner to prime minister of Egypt, he was given Mashudrawar Wasirkan, a royal robe, Pharaoh's signet ring, a gold chain, a chariot, a new Egyptian name, Zaphanath-Paneah, a wife Asenath, daughter of a priest. Joseph was only 30 years old. The years begin, just as God said. 7 years of abundance came. Joseph stored up grain like sand. Then came the 7 years of famine, and Egypt was ready. People from all over the world came to buy food. And Joseph, he stood at the center of it, once forgotten, now a nation's savior,